Very good morning. Today I am very happy to deliver a lecture on Northeast India, not just because of it is our part of India and it is our motherhood nation and nature, but it is what important is the diversity of opinion concerned with the homo sapiens or human development or homo parade. It is not in a dialogue of mutual interest. Why? Because we people are brotherhood nation and we are being vulnerable since 19 years of legacy of British Empire. After that we got an independence 1947, but despite some other part of nations or within our peninsula of India are still vulnerable. So we have to address not just because of you are academically strong enough to deal the things in UPSC sphere. It is our bound duty to know, understand our own part of Northeast India, how it will be, how it formed, and when it is developed, and what exactly now is going on. So this is a point of interest, not in a subjective matter. It is as you become an officer in the future, you have to know something better than anything. So I made a couple of interest today to address Northeast India, how it will be and so on. See, Northeast India is in the eastern peninsula of India, right? So it is very nearly the border with 5 nations. One is China, another one is Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan and Myanmar. So, haven't actually we concern about these nations are very vulnerable because China is a dominant country to India and it is having a nexus conflict of interest in the geopolitical in nature. And Myanmar is friendly nation, but despite the influence of the China is very massive there. And Bhutan, yes, of course, it is a more province of Buddhism and Hinduism culture. Earlier it was all the nations except China is our own, right? So if you bifurcate the independent colonial, the Pakistan is also within us and Myanmar and including Thailand once upon a time in a kingdom era, it is our own. But despite the China influence is much more, so critical characteristic occurs and geopolitical tensions will be mesmerized. So this is a vulnerable point of section. Northeast India. It consists of 8 sisters. So, Honorable Pradhan Mantri Narendra Modi sir emphasized it is a Mahalakshmi. 8 sisters of Mahalakshmi, 8 Mahalakshmis of India. But despite not necessarily an economic transaction is more and very cultural and diversified and geopolitical tension are less, not like that. It is our part and it is our boon and it is our right organ. So if you concentrate the body of human, the right hand is Northeast India. That is also one projection. So how many parts are there? If you concentrate the map here, Northeast India, this is the 8 peninsula. One is Sikkim, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Meghalaya, Manipur, Tripura, Nagaland and Mizoram. So this is one concept of several distinguished activity because what Sikkim culture is there, Arunachal Pradesh is not. What Arunachal Pradesh are witnessing the diversity of nature, not necessarily a Mizo front. So every part are its own colonial interpretation and inspection also. So it is our bound duty to investigate what exactly happened before. And Northeast India, all before of the independence also, the colonial war happened from the Mughal Sultanate and also have several distinguished kingdom nexus happening there. Because you saw Konark Sun Temple. It is been congregated in several distinguished activity and they barbarism the Hindu temples and critically it is a vulnerable state on that year also. And what about the geopolitical tension? Exceptionally geo, it is a vulnerable state because many disasters happen for the causative actions. Disaster like earthquake, tsunami and also a flood more prone Richter measurement there will be prolonged. So this is a tensioning subject, and it is also a wonderful subject to understand what needs to be done after our independence of 90 years and now 79 years of the independence, what we are going on and futurely what we are going to address it. So as a civilian, we have to understand whether we can possibly maintain the brotherhood nation with some other part like Myanmar, Thailand. You know, if you concentrate this map, above is this is a Nepal grant, and this is a Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Bhutan, and here is the Myanmar. After that, Myanmar is Thailand. So, concentratically, if you subjective, there is a more provinces there. Provinces means a stateship. So, when the statesmanship occurs, there is a positive and negative. If some states are positive in nature, not necessarily the same positivity occur in the other part of the nation also. There will be subjective interpretation because we are not our neighborhoods are not strong enough. You know, if you concentrate in West Pakistan and here above is China and bottom approach is Sri Lanka and Bhutan, Bangladesh, Nepal. One and the other aspect, there is a vulnerable situation for India to be faced. So this is even though the democratic big chance of the nations, it is our critical important to address it. Why Northeast? What do you mean by Northeast? Northeast is the geographical location, it is addressed in the northeast provinces. So, why it is so important means, there is a chicken neck corridor. If you concentrate here, this is in India, right? So, this is a small portion of connecting to northeast India and some other part of the India. So, if you concentrate here, it will be long of 60 kilometers and width of 22 kilometers, that is called as chicken neck corridor, or it is Siliguri corridor. It is namely Siliguri corridor. You know where exactly the Siliguri corridor lies? It is in West Bengal. First of all, we have a thought why it is so called as West Bengal. Why it is not a Bengal? You know what? Before independence, all the provinces, especially even though the West Bengal or the Bengal, Bangladesh, which is known as Bangladesh, and Myanmar, and exactly if you concentrate the Bhutan, Bangladesh are one and the same. But after independence, what happened, when the British bifurcation happened from the Pakistan and also India, the Bangladesh are subjective to Pakistan. So that is considered as East Pakistan, which is now Bangladesh, and West Pakistan, which is Pakistan itself. After that, there is a mutual cooperation is mismatched, the dismantle propagation, the popularity of the Muslim community are more on that particular area and they are not addressed properly. So that East Bangladesh are very vulnerable in situation on that time. So they consider it, we need an independent state. We are not going to any of India or Pakistan, we need an independent state. So autonomy should be given, that kind of protest was occurred. After that what happened? The Bangladesh or present Bangladesh or the past East Pakistan are now the Bangladesh. So that is why if you concentrate the colonial trajectory, earlier the Bangladesh and West Bengal is one and the same. After independence there is a two bifurcation. That same Bangladesh of one portion are considered as East Pakistan. After the insurgent group and some activity, they need an independent state. They became an autonomy that considered as Bangladesh. So this is the history of Bangladesh and why it is still known as West Bengal in India and Bangladesh alone in that particular East Pakistan and also. So this is a condition. So we have to address in a proper way. Even though the culture is same as West Bengal, Bangladesh and geographical location and some other part is same and diversity in nature also same. But despite the religious concept or the geopolitical tension are more, you concentrate here. This is a Sikkim, right? this is the Sikkim. And if you consider this 60 kilometers long and 22 kilometer chicken neck corridor. After that, what is there? Here is the Nepal, here is the China. So, is there any tension? Yes, of course. Because if you cut down here or something, 22 kilometers is not a big task to deliver a good operation, right? But if you concentrate, there is something which has happened for the 22 kilometer width of 60 kilometer long. Then absolutely the whole portion will be cut away. Because after this, there is a Myanmar and Thailand, and above this, there is a China, and below this, the Bangladesh. This is a circular, the trajectory velocity is very prone. That is why the history of Northeast India or the geopolitical tensions are very important for the development of the India. So this is also called as not only a great spirit of interest, it is also a scientific temper to address Northeast India. So this is a brief introduction, and you know, I have given the map of Northeast India and where this is Shillong and Agartala, Itanagar, this is the capital of Northeast India. You can project here. You know, Northeast India, why it is important? One is the strategic integration, political nexus, and also China supremacy and economic point of view. Because even though if you want to have a trade business to Northeast India from India, you have to go with a 22 kilometer width and 60 kilometer long, right? So this is what important. It is not only the economic transaction. If you go with the people-to-people interaction also, anything which is subjective in nature, that is hampering in society. And West Bengal is a very vulnerable situation towards earthquake, right? So this is also one point. Any military activity going on a propaganda, they have to go with the 22 kilometer width. Any economic transaction from the international to national to international, they have to go with the 22 kilometers. So this is one point of the game to address it. And you can concentrate here. I have given a map, Chicken Neck Siliguri corridor alone. This is a second map. This is called a Chikundurg. See, this is Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh. The trilateral junction is there. So what is this? This color is West Bengal. So prone to name West Bengal. After this, the Northeast India. After that, Myanmar. So that is why this point is very havoc in nature. And India is now having a plan to address the trade economic balance with some other route like Myanmar, India, Myanmar and Thailand route, Kalagan multi-model approach, and also the sea route. Because after West Bengal it will be connected 153 kilometers sea route, and then they go to Myanmar. After that they go to Northeast India, because Myanmar is friendly nation. But how many things the problem is, Myanmar is now friend. Tomorrow the condition may be different. That's why it is very critical aspect. So I have given an emphasis on 22 kilometer chicken neck. Why it is called as chicken neck? Means the shape is like a corridor of connectivity, right? So this is what an important task here. And Siliguri is a city. Why it is called a Siliguri corridor means it lays in the Siliguri city. So that is what important. Still, then again India is diversified. One is a critical point is Jammu Kashmir. Have you noticed day before yesterday there is a conquer protest? Yes, after Article 371 abolition, Jammu and Kashmir are bifurcated with the Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory and Ladakh Union Territory. But Jammu and Kashmir people are still wanted separate state alone for Jammu and Kashmir. This is what the protest has been occurred from last 2 days. So if you concentrate, okay, Jammu is nearly 90% of the Muslim community, and Kashmir is 90% of the Muslim community. Jammu is 74% or 61% Hindu community. But if you concentrate in a dialogue, what they demand, the separation of the state alone, autonomy should given in a like of Karnataka, Meghalaya, Tripura, Uttarakhand, like that. But if you okay with that, there is a communal bifurcation because Jammu consists of 91% of the Muslim community. It will be act like a Muslim dominant state is more, and it will be great threat to us because we avoided the regional conflict, right? That's why the Jammu and Kashmir. If you consider Jammu and Kashmir both as like now Union Territory, there will be headache is very less. But what is the actual demand of Jammu people? The per capita income is GDP grown is more, maybe the 5,000 rupees, 5,000 square kilometers, but this is a 2,000 square kilometers, and the GDP is very less comparatively Kashmir to Jammu. So this is what they are protecting. So they need a autonomy. As like that interest is vulnerable, the second most important factor is Northeast India. And third most important factor is Andaman Nicobar, right? Because each and every tiny particle, if we not address, then we are not okay with India as our sovereign country, right? We are a group of everybody, and we have to protect everybody. That is our slogan, Sarvakam model of good governance. So this is an ideology. Why I have given address of Jammu and Kashmir means, even we saw Jammu and Kashmir is very critical point. But despite the Northeast is also a critical point which is second highest priority, because each and every economic transaction are going with the Siliguri corridor in a way from the independent together. And if you concentrate this, the formation of the Northeast state, when it is formed, as like we know after independence, it will started in 1963, okay? 1963, and most of the cases in 1972, 3 states are autonomous. One is Meghalaya, Manipur and Tripura. You know, I have given the earlier status. This is the present status when it is formed. Earlier status means Nagaland is one common at time. It is a part of Assam, Nagaland and Meghalaya. Now it is an independent state. And Manipur, it is a union territory was. And there is several union territory was, and now it is an independent state. So if you concentrate 1963 to 1950, all the 8 states are accumulated as independent states. And one state you can remember, Assam, Sikkim, independent kingdom. You know, I have to emphasize the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. His contribution, he was an IPS officer, Kerala cadre. After distinguished services of 7 years, he was deputed to Intelligence Bureau, and he gone to service on IB of Delhi, and there is a mutual unbiased conflict between India and Manipur. At that time, Manipur and Mizoram also, and Sikkim also. It was a time of 1972, right? It was a time of 1972. And he got a dialogue and mutual interest, and he solved and resolved all the conflict, and he got a name for independent state. It will be a Sikkim also, it will be a Manipur also, and Mizoram also. And why some important state? Even though after the date of formation, why it is so called important? The security crunch is more. When you have a corridor like going on with the economic transaction, the security will be vulnerable, right? So there is an insurgent group or more, Mizo insurgent group, Naga insurgent group in Nagaland, Mizo insurgent group in Mizoram. So it is a great vulnerability, because Honorable ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh emphasized the security within our territory. The insurgency is a more tasky in nature, means critical in nature. This is what they are emphasized. So this is why important. The formation you can understand in a better way. 1963 to 1950, we got a independent Northeast India. So this is the point of not only the formation, it is the point of we have to protect the interest of the people. See, you are in this classroom, right? Without your permission, I cannot do that. Any lecture, any contribution, nothing will be happen. So people to people centric is much important. So mutual respect, when the mutual respect is there, then the mutual harmony is present. When the mutual harmony is there, then the decentralization it happens. Decentralization is a good winning principle between you and me. So this is what actually needed for Northeast India. People like India, and you know South India is very linguistic in nature. You are talking about the linguistic Tamil Nadu, Kannada, Karnataka and Maharashtra and Marathi and so on, Kerala and so. But if you concentrate on Northeast, there is the same principle, linguistic state, right? Not only the linguistic, geographically also. Some states are in a hilly area and they are prone to more disasters. Some states are in a welcome to the coastal zone. So it is a projection of geo-tension also. So that is why it is a more address from the awareness for the people. People like India are very having less aware about Northeast Peninsula. People are going for a travel. Okay, I wanted to go look out the Northeast, but just for a travel they are going. They are not addressing how they are living, what the condition will be. This is a point of view. Even our colonial mechanical education also not emphasize on it. Have you ever noticed the Northeast India contribution in our education system? No. You have been studying so far the 21 years, but you didn't study about the Northeast, no? So why? That's what the vulnerable situation here. And if you ask any youth people, approximately the age of 18 to 30, many are not knowing about Northeast conditions and what is the culture, what is the diversity. So as an administrative teacher and you are going for a future administrators, you have to know and notice everything in this regard. And you know, statistically I can say happily, we have an India population is 18%, right? So among 18%, the 4% of the population are laid in the 8 districts of Northeast India. So that is why called the Mahalakshmi of India, Ashtalakshmi of India. So geographically, if you speak, there is 8% geographical area, the total peninsula. The 2,500 lakh square kilometer area is there in Northeast. And it is a great international border with 5 on China and Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal. So it consists of nearly the 2,000 and odd kilometers. So it's not only the game of 22 kilometer width and 60 kilometer long of Siliguri corridor or a chicken neck corridor, it is a subjective nature of people to people mutual interest. And you know, the GDP contributes 3% of GDP, very less. Yes, of course, all the 8 states are contributing very less, but a lot of tension. See, they are very hard ethos, their culture is very diversified, their significance are very diversified. Earlier was the condition of colonial empowerment and bombarded the Northeast temples and monarchy principles and so on. Ethnically, they are dismantled the behavioral culture from the kingdom monarchies. But despite they are giving now 3% of GDP. And once upon a time, you can address in 2019 it was the case, organic farming, which is the fully state of organic farming, Sikkim. You know, India is going to be a primary sector is very high, that is in the condition of agriculture sector, and there the Sikkim is very high. And if you concentrate the Mizoram, one of the best educated, 99% of the literacy rate, total Northeast consists 80% of the literacy rate. They are not bothering about, they are having self respect, you know, they are having a decorum. Distinguished services, they are even going for the Olympic matches. They are extraordinary in volleyball and they are very good in relay. They had a archery, the game of archery is very smart enough there. So they had a contribution. We have to notice the contribution, what they are doing it. So this is our dharma. You know, Northeast India literacy rate is 80% and especially in Mizoram and Tripura, that is 99%. So it is a great boon. And if you concentrate in infrastructurally, the hydropower capacity is more generated there. And if you concentrate the forest cover, 30% of the forest cover are in their northeast. So what is a great trajectory velocity there? The contribution, 30% of the overall Indian forest cover. Absolutely you are noticing the West Bengal towards Tamil Nadu bottom, and from Kerala to upwards towards Karnataka, there is a forest cover. But despite this is also one contribution, 30% of the forest cover. And what is the tribal contributions there? Tribal people are laid in a 60%, huge. Contribution is not a big joke, Actually, what is a mutual dialogue? I have emphasized in the class. What I know, I have to learn. What I know, you have to learn. A is equal to B, B is equal to A. This is what the condition, right? So we have to know about them, we have to speak about them, we have to implement about them, right? This is what the task. And Meghalaya, if you concentrate, most rainy state in northeast among Meghalaya. So where is the Meghalaya? This is the part, see, Meghalaya. It is situated in Bangladesh near, but despite. And I have mentioned some of the important concepts like devolution of the principal, financial devolution. I have emphasized in a governance portion or else in a parliamentary legislation portion, Indian states and Indian United Territory. And also there is a financial devolution distributions are there. One is 60 to 40% for state is given autonomy in 60% from the central and 40% from the state, the financial devolution. Whereas the northeast consists 90:10. 90% contribution from the central and 10% contribution from northeast. Why? Because it's a subjective of hilly region, the difficulty terrain and economic transition and their concept of kingdom monarchy principles are annexed by all the temple architecture and so on, and because of the disaster peninsula of geopolitical tension and so on. So that's why the financial devolution from Article 280, they emphasize the 90:10 ratio. So if someone are asking about, okay, you are giving 90% of the benefit to Northeast India, whereas for me 60%. Why? Because you have a less tension, less geographical tension, political tension, and environmental condition tension and disaster tensions. So when the tension is more, then the scheme is very high, right? This is what the condition. And another important factor is inland line permit. It was a condition of mode of approach. Inland line permit is the almost pakka question in the UPSC prelims. You know what? Why inland line permit means you are in India, northeast. Many northeastern people are coming up towards the India. That is okay because they are also a part of Indians. But Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, China, people are coming to India. That is illegal, right? Coming is in a positive way, that is good. But that is illegal. So there is more migrants are there. Especially you can witness Karnataka case, especially in 7 days ago. Many Bangladesh people are migrated to Karnataka and they stayed here. It is a big news now. So as like that, where Bangladesh is very near to Northeast India. So we cannot, knowing even in a diversified Homo sapiens phase, we cannot address, okay, you are a Bangladeshian, okay, you are a Northeastian, right? So you have to notice in a very tiny marginal way. So that is what the tension will occur. That's why inner line permit is the entry and stay, the movement of people from one state to another state. That is a full legally. So whomsoever concerned, one is Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Mizoram and Manipur. These are the 4 states are having inner line permit. There is a permission given by the government of India to come the movement of and stay and latitude in terms of Northeast India, right? It is not for Indians, it is a foreigners who is illegally coming, right? Okay. So objective I have mentioned. And next the special interest is the Northeast India having a wildlife sanctuary 65 and protecting area is nearly 84 and also national park is 19. So you know the significant contribution from diversity of animal to the creature, and they had a good agriculture practice that I emphasize. Sikkim is most important factor. One is rice, maize, and also jute. West Bengal is known for jute, right? So where is the West Bengal? Near the Siliguri corridor, right? Other than that part also some influence is there. So it is what there. And Northeast India having a language like a distinguished Assami, Bengali, Bodo, Naga Mike, Kaki, Garo, Migo. These are the languages. This is something about the tribal languages or any which is in the geopolitical languages, as like Karnataka, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, like. So how important it is. And you know UNESCO, United Nations Environmental and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, there is a Kaginagar National Park and Manas National Park in Assam. This is a significant contribution which is given by the same Northeast India. And the Sun Konark Temple, that is also. So, and you know one interesting story, Lot Tak Lake, Manipur, that is only floating national park in the world. That is only one floating national park is there, that is in our Northeast India. So, you know what? We people are very neglected about Northeast people, and some colleges, I have witnessed the colleges, if they came across, they are not going to bother about them, they are not talkative in nature, they seem to be your alien like. Northeast, because if you consider South India, the body mass index and also the cultural behavior is vary, and North India is vary. And if you concentrate this Northeast India is like China influence and so on, the geographical Homo sapiens culture. So that is why we are neglecting them. That is a brand, that is a very sad in nature. We have to respect them, not necessarily just differ with the Homo sapien anthropological activity like China and also Bangladesh. It's not that. Humans are very cognitive in nature, we have to respect them. And major tribes, yeah, I emphasize the major tribe. You can read this, and also it is very important for prelims. That's why I emphasize each state and each tribal. Okay, and constitutional mechanism I have to address. One is the 5th schedule and another one is 6th schedule, and Article 244 for the administrative protocol and the forest right, because they had a cover of 64% of the forest right. So they had a forest right, and also Article 371 to G, that is what the special protection from the special security protection given for the state because of the political tension and geographical tension and also environmental disaster tensions. And committee, I have emphasized the two important factors. One is Pucci Committee, that is in 2007 from administration protocol giving a mass dialogue. Another one is Beg Baruhu Committee, that is a living part concerned to the illegal institutions and also sensitization measures. That is in a political tension. And if you concentrate the case study, there is two important case study. It is little bit in the more or governance portion. Lohit district, they enable the rural livelihood, how to gather them, how to motivate them, how to be a part of the governance system, as like in 73rd and 74th Commandment of 11th and 12th Schedule. And if you concentrate Bishnupura district, they had a good digitalized governance. We know India is moving upon after 2015 digitalized era. So this is a contribution they given the cashless economy still now. All the Northeast India right now is cashless economy right now. Bishnupura is the great exemplary action there. And I have emphasized the Gandhian principle. Why? What Gandhian principle lies is the trusteeship, digital decentralization, and Sarvottam model of good governance, and the Seva, Ahimsa, and also the self-reliance, that is Swadeshi, and also the harmony with the nature. These words are not only the words, they are very subjective to northeast peninsula also. Because if we deal with this, there is a 90% of the work is being done. That's why I mentioned it. You can add it in your main answer, or else you can add it in your think ideologically when you are respecting the northeast conditions. And also, there is a public speech. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi sir emphasized the Ashtalashmi of India, and Honorable President of India Draupadi Murmu emphasized the localization or connectivity in nature, not only from economic and political. It is our check balance ratio to honor the Northeast India in terms of whole to mutual interest. So this is a frontier to front runner of the growth. He emphasized the frontier, that is a front. It is in the front, not the front only, it is a front runner up for the future growth. So she emphasized on that. And the government of initiative, yes, of course, there is a tribal population is more. So Ekalavya tribal welfare program, Ek Bharat Shresth Bharat program, and forest cover is more, so that one Dhan Vikas Kendra and Finance and Devolution Article 275, 90:10, and Kalagan Multilateral Project that is being addressed from the India, that to Northeast, and also Myanmar, and also there is a Thailand also. And there is a Uday Desh Aam Nagarik. This is the regional connectivity from aeroplane, aeroplanes. And Bharatmala, Sagarmala, that is a road project and port project. You have to address this. See, this is a peace accord. There is a word peace accord. What do you mean by peace accord? Peace accord means there is an insurgency group there, Nagaland and Mizo Front, right? They need an autonomy state, like India, but we are not, because it's a bound in nature. This is a state. We have given the statesmanship. So, accord of the peace accord and Naga peace talk are still in a cardboard. So we have to address in a proper way. So implementation is when occur, when preparation makes an opportunity. If the preparation is very less, the contribution is very less, how come we bother about the spiritual interest between the Northeast and the moral interest between the Northeast and India, right? That's why the scheme implementation is much prolonging. And if you concentrate the challenges, yes, difficulty of the terrain is velocity, China influence is more, economic transaction, GDP is very less, but contribution from India 90:10, but despite the industrialization are very less, because of the terrain principle, some states are in hilly region, some are in ocean trench. How come it is possible? And it is landlocked because Myanmar, Bangladesh, India and Nepal, Bhutan and so on. So, if you concentrate the Northeast India, this is one concept of several pages. You have to address, it is not fit by one side, does not fit manner. It cannot be. You have to deal in a speculated way as a situation comes. Then only the regional connectivity occur. And I have to emphasize before that, government, it is only the cup of tea of the government? No, right? Because we have a corporate social responsibility. It is an actor of the social responsibility in terms of the private sector. So what project they have communicated, project they established, project they implemented, that is the revenue, and that is the development. How many Northeast are consist of the IIT, IIM? There will be more now, but prolonging still more are needed, and infrastructurally we have to stubborn enough. So people like a big business magnate, they have to go to the Northeast and they had to open the headquarters there also, right? And also development of the several industrialists are needed. The Homo sapiens, because there is a poverty is more. When the poverty is more, even though the 80% of the literacy, Northeast, the poverty is more. That's why we have to give the skill. Not necessarily an educated people are having a good voice. There is no count maybe. So if they want to have the voice with the count, we have to give the absolute independent mutual respect to them, right? So contributing giving the skill network is one among the concept. With regarding to the solution, I can say the capacity building. What do you mean by capacity building? That is a free autonomy given to the independent task, and each sectorial having its own legacy. The state list and central list, they have to get over the rank, they have to get over the independent rank, so they can gauge them what better they could. Suppose you can have an example, agriculture, that is organic farming. It comes under the picture of Sikkim. Sikkim is the fully organic state and awarded by the UNESCO also. So these kind of activity should be manifesto towards a real example for other states also. So I wanted to convey one thing. When we talk about the Northeast India, we have to not look only the Northeast India. It is the condition to whole. We have to understand the people of their Northeast. We have to take the innovation from the Northeast. We have to give our opportunity of which we are knowing it, and we have to give an equal mutual respect. Then only it will be treated, not like any education, security, environment, disaster, political, legislative, not like that. It is our bound duty. And earlier the condition was look east policy. Now the condition will be act east policy. What is the difference? Earlier we concentrate northeast only for the economic transition. It is mainly for the economic transition. Now we transfer from look east policy to act east policy. Act east policy means actionable, sustainable, and longevity and inclusive. That is called as Act East policy. So this is when happened, 2014 Act East policy happened, and Look West policy was 1961 philosophy. So people are, if we strengthen the Act East policy or the Northeast India, it will be a great boon to Indo-Pacific region, right? So we have to be a great model of good governance, and also the multilateral approach towards the project, Sarvottam model of good governance, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. We have to balance the nation in terms they want to be, not necessarily we want to be, right? Even sitting in the people of Gujarat may be having some problem, and sitting in the people of Assam are maybe having some problem. But despite we should not be match up them in the same bowl. We have to see up them in a different bowl, but we have to give up them in a mutual same bowl, right? Thank you. Is there any doubt?